So let's freaking go, everyone. The finals of the Steel Division League Season 9 coming around. And it's Gonzo versus Inshaa. And we have an amazing matchup here in front of us. We are on sale for game number 1. And we have Gonzo here on the left in blue, bringing around a division that will make one American really happy. The Cavalry Motorizzata coming in for Gonzo on sale. CQC map here. Whilst Inshaa on the other side is bringing in Corpo Italiano di Liberazione. You see the bands on your screen. We have interesting bands there. Not, for example, being banned. Like a lot of the CQC infantry divisions being banned. A couple of the classics as well with 2nd Infantry, Autonek, 26 Guards, and 97th. But like with Raima, North, DFL, and Lovash, obviously specific division bands for this map. Task Force 45, a bit of an odd one, as usually this is not one of their strongest maps, but this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really hot, and I can't wait to see what these two bring in this final. So let's get the hype up, and before we jump right in, once more, a last shout out, guys, to Matcherino, guys. You can support the prize pool of the tournament. You can make these guys a slight bit richer for their amazing games they bring to us. And you don't have to pay anything yourself. It's not you have to pay them. You can go to Matcherino and you can add money to the prize pool for completely free. You just have to use the codes here on the side, like Jakub, for example, just did. Just visiting the websites here of Lucid Sounds. There's 2 websites of theirs. If you visit them both, you add 40 cents to the prize pool. You can do the same with Power 8, another 40 cents. And then maybe do the better help thing, and that's another 40 cents. That's $1.20 from each person who does that. And if everyone in chat would do that right now, it's another 50 bucks. If everyone on YouTube would do that, that's another a couple $100. So, guys, let's get this thing in. And yeah, let's go with Inshaa versus Gonzo here in game number 1. They had both an interesting way here, as in the semifinals, they both were the underdogs when it came to the stats. They both were not the first place in their group stage, as they slipped a bit there. Inshaa only coming in as 2nd place behind Gers out of Group A, but he did beat Onord in the semifinals in a really great fashion. And then Gonzo slipping up against Onord, so losing their 0-2 in the group stage, which was pretty surprising, as it also was Onord in really clean fashion there, beating Gonzo. Like, that was a great series. But he stepped it up again, and he beat Gers in a 2-0 fashion as well in the semifinals. So Gers falling there to Gonzo, and Gonzo making it once more to the finals, and it's his 8th finals time. Gonzo, obviously the best Steel Division player of all time, and Inshaa is in his first finals. He was in the semifinals last year. He fell against Gonzo there. Last season, he did only make it to the semifinals, but maybe he can take revenge on Gonzo for that this time around. Should be a really good game here. We have a lot of interesting units coming up here. We have Rojori, ABU Jors, 60mm mortars, and Bredas coming on the left side, and the super heavily buffed Sil on Inshaa's side here on the right. A division that was decent before, I would say, and now it has all the tools. It's like the list of buffs this division got with the latest patch, directly or indirectly, is really long. Most of these patch buffs pretty minor, but adding them all together, they made that division a lot better. From high availability on their L3 light tanks over high availability on the M10 tank destroyers, and a couple of, like, mostly it's availability buffs on some of the nice units, RDT and so on, getting better stuff. Their 20-point infantry getting better, veterancy. So in general, a lot of nice stuff there for a division that has a lot of Beretta SMGs, and those can be pretty gnarly if you get them into the right spot. Also, 2-inch mortars, obviously, coming in here. It wouldn't be an Inshaa game without them. If a division has small 50mm or 2-inch mortars Inshaa is there to pick them. Breda MGs got cheaper. They are now the cheapest heavy MG in the game. They're also by far the worst heavy MG in the game, but they now cost you only 15 points. So they will come in here really, really cheaply and will be able to annoy Gonzo on the long range. Meanwhile, Gonzo's division obviously still having a good amount of snipers. Not quite as many as in the past, but the recon units still have good amount of snipers, and they have still solid round of all-around infantry. They have a good amount of armored cars, and here we freaking go. This should be a really, really good game, guys, and let's see how it goes. Spitfire coming in here for Inshaa in the north, spotting a good amount of stuff here already. On the other side, Gonzo bringing in only a couple of infantry. Meanwhile here, good amount of Breda, good amount of sniper and normal infantry here as well. Commandosi coming in the A. That's an interesting one. A Polish special forces basically, which are pretty powerful as well, having a good all-around setup of weapons. The M47 gun is available to both sides. One of the issues of Sil is the Dwunkwe. The Dwunkwe truck with only 60 kmh is a bit of a problem. You at least get your light forces like the Lancia Flame in jeeps, but all your bigger squads come in one of the slowest trucks in the game. So you are on a bit of a back foot there. Commandosi coming in the Bedford, which is sadly just as slow, so not even there you get an advantage with the different truck. But Inshaa still manages, thanks to the jeeps, to get up to 13-11 at the get-go. And both sides for now in defensive or in like standard setup positions here. No one going for any super aggressive start here. They really want to get a feel for where the enemy is strong at. And yeah, going into game number 1 in a best of 5 with a rush can be a bit risky. Usually something that you most of the time see a bit later, unless someone is super confident that he is way better than the other guy. But I don't think either of these two players is that on that level here, as both of these players are absolutely top level in Steel Division 2. So I don't think any one of these two sees the other as way worse, as they for sure ain't. 25mm here coming in the rear. So rushes, I would expect more of a mind game in later games. More so out of Inshaa than out of Gonzo, but Gonzo absolutely capable of a good rush as well. Meanwhile, over here we have the first bigger firefight. Ruggieri fighting versus Alpini Esplorante, Bredas and Commandosi. Aditi special forces coming in here as well. Commandosi and Aditi relatively similar. The Commandosis get the Piat and the Thompsons. The Aditi gets the TNT and the Berettas. So both having great SMGs, the Aditi's one's slightly better, and the Piat helping out with some nice anti-tank capabilities, whilst the Aditi helping out with some extra oomph in the CQC with the TNT. Meanwhile, down in the south, are the Assalto trying to get into good positions. Having them on the edge of Light Forest can be really, really brutal if the enemy runs into them. They can be absolutely shredded by the 9 Berettas. Gonzo, though, one of the players that is most likely the best at playing against Beretta infantry, being able to react super quickly when engaging them, and also being able to somewhat well stay out of that range. Meanwhile, 60mm mortars moving forward here. Way better than the 2-inch mortars, as they have way better range, but still having great rate of fire. The 2-inch mortars, though, a good bit cheaper still. And it's just the standard trademark unit of Inshaa having one of these in his deck. Like, it really wouldn't be an Inshaa deck without some of those. IAR in disguise. No AA on the side of Sil. One of their biggest weaknesses, they don't get an insane amount of AA. They get a couple of 20mm, and they get one card of Crusader AA, which is a great AA piece, but it's still not the most amazing one. Meanwhile, 25mm on the other side, a really solid AA, and they already push back the Spitfire, allowing the JOD7D3 to get through here, going for the Sherman. IAR is able to keep an eye on it, so the cluster will get on top of it and will be able to take out the Sherman. IR continues flying on here. 20mm, trying to prevent it from getting on top of the Obice, and it will be able to do so. 20mm of the Italians, one of the best 20mm, but it's still only a 20mm AA gun. IR being pushed back here, and let's see how this goes. But good first blood there on the tank for Gonzo. Really nice play there, checking out with the IAR if there's AA, and then buying the J87, which is this bigger investment right after, as he realizes, nope, Inshaa has a weakness there, and he takes out a Sherman. Good kill there. Shermans don't come super cheaply onto the battlefield. So Regida in the rear here, firing around. Obviously, a slight bit more expensive now, but still one of the best guns in the game. It can fire indirectly, it has smoke shells, and it has an insane rate of fire on its AP shell on 2000 meter range, whilst also still being able to nearly penetrate next to everything there. And the 15 rate of fire on a gun like this is just absolute monster stats. Like, any kind of tank running into this just gets shredded, unless it's a King Tiger that shows frontal armor. But as soon as you show one bit of side armor, you get killed off, and it can win duels against every kind of tank out there, and even against a tank column with its fast rate of fire, it often can take out multiple ones in such quick succession that any misstep against them is paid really, really dearly. Though Inshaa is trying to get on top of it and gets a nice hit here with his artillery pieces. The 75mm Obices, great artillery pieces, 50 points. And if you have radio in range, they are really, really accurate, and they have a really solid rate of fire and a good aim time. So if you get them together with radio, they are fantastic. Regida here already forced back, and they are dirt cheap as well. 50 points is cheaper than most mortars, at least the 80mm ones, and I mean still close to the 60mm mortar as well. Can do good counter battery on those as well. So a really interesting game here so far. Cell tends to go long because it's such a slog, so I would expect this game to go long as well, as both sides so far not going for any major breakthrough mode, and rather slowly but surely set up more and more forces. Obviously, currently a super slight advantage for Inshaa, as he ticked down Gonzo for a small bit, and at the 50-minute mark, whoever has more points on their hit point bar will win the game, with the tournament rules on the time limit. So yeah, only 42 minutes remaining for Inshaa to win this game. But obviously, most likely we will see some changes in the health points of these two players till then. I would not expect that to be the end state. Meanwhile, Gonzo going in here with a unit that is pretty fantastic artillery as well. The M30 122mm. In Soviet, it's a Soviet gun, and in Soviet usage, it's not as amazing because it's a pretty inaccurate gun on the long range, and it has a relatively long aim time. But in the service of the Romanians, it gets a radio, and with the radio, you can make it really solid in accuracy and solid in aim time as well. And then with 5 rounds per minute and a pretty good damage per hit, this thing can be really deadly. Like, this thing takes out anti-tank gun positions pretty darn well, and it also is still a solid counter battery thing. Like, one good hit against the Obice and the Obice will be gone. Spitfire here, once more, trying to come in for the IAR, but realizes the Hotchkiss is still there, and you can't chase over a Hotchkiss with a Spitfire, especially not as 2-star veteran C1, as Hotchkisses do solid damage, and the Spitfire is a bad resilience plane, so it will die relatively quickly if left uncared for. RDT here with their two Grand Guns versus Rogioris, which have the T26, so yeah, solid. The ZB 30, both sides having only medium level LMGs here. Aditis and Commandosis, thanks to their veterancy advantage though, start to win. Artillery helping out here a bit as well. So, slight advantage here for Inshaa in the center. Rogioris, though, the cheaper infantry, only costing 25 points. But Inshaa here may be able to take one more flag. ABU Joris tries to stop the infantry around. Has to be careful, though, as the 47mm cannon could come around to try to stop them. Gustatori Paras actually coming around here. I wouldn't not have expected those. I myself never sure how much I like these guys for 30 points. I mean, as I said, in most decks, I would most likely use them, as I said in the pre-show. And still, I feel like you have enough other great infantry that you don't quite need them. Meanwhile, Regida down to 1 hit point, but not quite down, so that means it still can deal its damage. So somewhat fortunate for Gonzo in an unfortunate moment. Not so lucky with the 25mm AA though, and that is good for Inshaa. Trying to take out those nasty AA pieces, forcing Gonzo to invest more into that, whilst Gonzo is setting up more and more artillery spam. Okay, that is interesting, but at the meantime, Gonzo under pressure here in the center, Inshaa up to a 1311. So that's a big investment into an artillery park at the moment where you are under pressure, as he has 3 M30s and now he has also 3 F22s on the battlefield. Really wants to win the artillery fight, but the question is, will that come in under the cost of major land losses on the ground? As he is for sure weaker around here. He has Kalarazis, he has some Rogioris still around. Kalarazi with their sniper rifle can be really, really good. And they get rid of one of the enemy anti-tank guns, but with the Sherman coming up here, I feel like Inshaa should be able to push further. Question is just how well these M30s will pay off over time and how much they are able to deteriorate the forces of Inshaa here in the long run. The 20mm here tries to run, gets still slightly hit by the guns as they are firing onto its old position. Ooh, and the 20mm gun now gets called back, meaning it falls back right into where these shots came from. And that's a bit of a problem. J87D3 also coming in for the Sherman. And Sherman most likely won't be able to disengage out of there. And the J87 gets another kill, and that's a great one for Gonzo. This was super important for Inshaa, keeping that Sherman alive. We are now in B phase. Like, that Sherman could really have mounted up so much pressure onto this spot. Now, the ABU Jor is a big threat for the Staghound, especially on the super short range. Inshaa actually bringing in the commander here. And yeah, the 20mm might go down here. Yes. AA piece on the side of Inshaa, biting the dust. Crusader AA coming in here in B phase. That's the second card of AA you get in the deck. That's all the AA different versions you get in the deck. So with 4 20mm in A and 4 Crusader Mark II AA, that leaves Inshaa with only 8 AA pieces, one of them already down. So if this game goes 37 minutes, Gonzo might be able to whittle that down completely. And especially with an artillery pack like that. Though the Crusaders, obviously more agile, can dodge the enemy artillery, but they have to be microed for that relatively actively. Meanwhile, in the center, RTT finding the Panzerschreck that tries to get onto the Staghound. Should be able to deal with that. RTT's, yeah, with the Berettas, easy kill there. Close to getting the flag over here, but the Rogioris just positioned just fine to stop Inshaa from the 1311, and that means both sides still on a deadlock here in the center. And Gonzo setting up the artillery park. Trying to go for some nice artillery guns around here. IAR under fire. Spitfire Mark 5B drop. Trying to come in. IAR being pushed back. Hotchkiss forcing back the Spitfire. Maroprand coming up. Staghound helping out against the Rogioris. Inshaa really wants to 1311 here. A long 1311 obviously could be really helpful in the long run, but the amount of enemy artillery now on the other side will start to become really, really nasty. More AA coming up here for Gonzo as well. Brings in a bow force with 1-star veterancy and B phase. So this should be interesting. Meanwhile, up in the north, Roggiori stopped Commandosi from moving forward. Really solid, cost-efficient aim from these Roggioris. 10 hit points, 25, with 2 automatic rifles that can fire on all ranges. Beretta and Carabiner, also good weapons. So for 25 points, you get a solid amount of firepower. Stopping the Commandosi here, dead in their tracks, actually wiping them out completely. Meanwhile, Raider, not a great gun, but as I said, it being so dirt cheap makes it still okay at its current state. The Roggiori is still able to pin it down before it can do much to them, especially as they are in cover. So maybe more support for Inshaa in the north needed. Another Sherman coming up, but now we have some more Ju-87D3 already rushing into it. Though with 2 Crusaders, I feel like this should be dealt with. Yeah, Ju-87 this time around not coming in here. And Spitfire coming in for the IAR in the south. Hotchkiss this time around not able to stop it. And with 2 Crusaders that also have extra efficiency, the Ju-87D3 falls in the middle as well. Finally, the AA here on Inshaa's side good enough to keep the Shermans alive. And the Shermans are a big threat for Gonzo. They can do pretty well on the short ranges. You have Stokes, you have the Rigidas. But if you don't have them in position, the Shermans can deal a lot of damage to your infantry. And they are a bit more agile. And not every spot here is suitable for Stokes or Rigidas, so it will be interesting how that goes. Meanwhile in the north, will Gonzo keep the push or will he keep focusing on the trades? So far Gonzo not really ever pushing anywhere here. Playing more of a liquid defense game, just not allowing the enemy to get any flags off him. But obviously that could shift any second. Gonzo really good at switching from defense to offense in the matter of seconds. Though for now, Inshaa holding the line nicely, and it looks pretty damn well for the player in red in my eyes. As long as he can keep the enemy air at bay, and as long as this artillery park doesn't start to get massive hits in. Like, this artillery park really the biggest asset that Gonzo has, and he starts to take out the enemy artillery here, even more so now. Like the 2 of the Obiches 75mm already taken out, so that is problematic. But obviously it doesn't really matter if the rest of Gonzo's frontline has disappeared by the time these units start to pay off, and that seems to be the case, you know. ABU Jorg getting taken out as well, Commandosi with Piat, and the M1 gun here in the rear dealing with that, and now the Sherman running over the Breda. Not standing a chance against that unit. Sherman 1 though, with 110 frontal armor. Actually a pretty damn nice thing here in Sill. As the Roggioris are in the fire. Stoke 3G Führer trying to come around. As the M30s try to keep up getting value. Hotchkiss not quite good enough to stop the Baltimore in the north though. And that wipes out all the 60mm mortars here. Nice double kill there for the Baltimore. Great bombing run there with the Spitfire and Baltimore combo. Spotting it with the Spitfire, hitting it with the Baltimore. And Hotchkiss just that split second too late. And in the north, Inshaa able to reinforce even more so now as well. As a hell of a lot of Marrow brands come in that will outgun the Roggiori big time on the mid and long ranges. And even in the CQC, thanks to the brands being automatic rifles that can fire CQC as well, they should be able to win there as well. In the center, still not looking bad for Gonzo, but Inshaa has him on 11-13 now. And the traits in the air and on the front line lately for sure going in Inshaa's favor. Only the artillery here for Gonzo being a saving grace, but that's the game plan. Gonzo gave up a bit of mid-phase power on the front line to get that artillery online. Obviously, the loss of the air units is not what you want, but Ju-87 and IARs are flimsy planes, so they will go down eventually if the enemy is focusing them down. You're just gonna lose them at some point. Spitfire being pushed back in the north should survive though, and this counter push here in the north could be deadly, especially as it catches Gonzo at the moment where he tried to get a bit of ground. And obviously, he didn't quite expect that many reinforcements here. Mauro Brands lighting up the Roggioris, and this is not looking good for Gonzo's north here at all. Inshaa in a really sweet spot. Ju-87 got actually its bombing run out. Got some damage onto some Shermans here. One of the Crusaders has fallen. Artillery did its job there. Second Crusader gets the kill here onto the J87 though. Another Crusader is further in the south. Leaves one remaining that to be called in. But the one kill over here, I think it was done by the Breda. Pretty important one. Killing off enemy AA, as I said, is one of the best ways for Gonzo to win this game. So, only 30 minutes now to fully make them pay off, and first have to get rid of other stuff. Stuk getting ambushed here by the Sherman and the Breda 47mm. One of the Stuks actually going down. Second Stuk here though, in a spot where it should have an easier time. Yeah, third Stuk in the south here, getting rid of one more Sherman. So Gonzo should be able to hold on down here. Much bigger question is if he can hold on in the north. Pioneer Kalari and a Stuk trying to move in there, trying to hold on to the flag, but there's a lot of forces coming in for them. A good bunch of stuff coming right up to Gonzo there in the north. Artillery trying to get rid of the Alpini Esperante and IARs in the north, trying to get these units killed off. No AA here for Inshaa, so the IARs with their bombs should be able to hit some infantry. And it's no split fires in the air either. And Lanciaflamme and Gustatoris will go down. Might allow Gonzo to take the flag back. With the Northern Pincer, it seems like that's not going to be the case. So Inshaa stays on a 14-10 now. One step closer to 59. 59 obviously would be the game changer, as at a 59 the game starts to tick the enemy's hit points down faster. So if Inshaa gets to a 59, he gets the double tick speed onto Gonzo's hit point bar and would be able to finish him off within like 13 minutes. Would mean that Gonzo would be under much bigger timer than he is at the moment. For now, Gonzo still can absolutely rely on his artillery, slowly but surely grinding the enemy down. And then him coming back in like 10 to 15 minutes to run the rest of Inshaa's units out of here. Though, with another Crusader coming in the north, AA improving for Inshaa there, and big question is going to be how the trades will go on the front line. And as I said, if Inshaa is able to get to a 59, then the pressure on Gonzo will double as well. JH-73 though, in the north, on a way for a good thing. Crusader Mark II, just too slow to stop this. And the Sherman 1 DOV most likely is gonna bite the dust here. Crusader just not in range just yet, and that's another great kill. Or, oh, not quite a kill, okay, but good damage on the Sherman for Gonzo. Interesting to see it not getting the kill. I mean, I think Inshaa just dodged to the outer part of the hit, so took heavy damage but doesn't quite go down, and that's a good one. Keeping the Sherman alive there is pretty essential. It's still not the best Sherman now, but it does its job. Meanwhile, artillery in the rear here, trying to get some kills directly on the front line. And Go Beats over here still is firing as well. Artillery of Gonzo might need a reload soon, whilst it is opening up fire onto the south. A spot where Gonzo maybe can do a counter push if he gets the units correctly into position. The rear line here not super well defended, so if you can overwhelm this stuff, that would be nice. So artillery to pin all of it down could be a good idea, whilst Inshaa is keeping up the 13-11 here. He is keeping up the pressure. Breda goes down on the hill, and it's a really interesting match here. One of my favorite divisions against the favorite division of attack power. Yeah, let's see if Gonzo can make it work. He has played 5th Cavalry Motorizata a bit lately again, if I remember correctly, in other tournament games as well, so nice to see him back on it. A division that for sure has a nice combine arms as well, pretty unique combine arms as well, with all the sniper rifles and the Calorizi, the Rigidas, and then the Sturk 3s. Together with the other Romanian infantry. It's a cool thing. I quite enjoy with Motorizata, but I feel like Sil is the slightly better division at the moment. But Zatori lands in the south. 14-10 for Inshaa. 59 is what he wants though. Gets one Horch, loses one M1 gun. And a good amount of artillery now raining down into the south. Sherman trying to rotate around. Crusader could get killed here. That would be massive. Oh! Oh! Commandosi not getting the Piat off. That's absolutely brutal. Because that most likely is going to be the end of the Crusader Mark II here. And that's an important AE piece falling in the south. Where there's still a for Gonzo to keep Spitfires away. And now airplanes could come in for the Sherman. The Commandosi not getting off its TNT was really, really brutal there for Inshaa. If that would have been able to stop the AB Horch, that would have helped himself out a hell of a lot. Mauro finally getting the kill with a Panzerfaust, but still great kill for Gonzo there, who is on an 11-13, and we are at the halfway point for this game. 24 minutes remaining. Inshaa with a slight advantage in points, like 8 minutes or so on a single pick. Beaches over here out of HE shells, so Inshaa, if he wants to keep using them, needs to rearm them. In the north, Crusader really close to the front line as well. At least will be able to push back the enemy bombers, but has to be careful to not be overrun as Rogioris and Stuk 3Gs move through the forest. Spitfire here on the hunt for the Ju-87. That would be an important kill. Now with the AA down in the south, if the Ju-87 D3s would stay alive, that would mean that the south could not be held with armor, basically, for Inshaa at all. But with the kill on the Ju-87 D3, one less threat for the southern flank is on the list for Gonzo. So he has to find other ways to try to deal with this. Sherman 1 in the north, aiming up onto Rogioris, Gustatore Pari helping us as well, but the Stuk 3G is the problem. Mauropran have Panzerfaust, so they could maybe try to ambush from the side. No Commandosis over here. Spitfire still in the skies. Sherman goes down. And the Stuk goes down to the Crusader. Oh, the Crusader's 20mm HE damage actually good enough to finish off the Stuk. It got one hit in from the Sherman, so it was already really low on hit points, but it now gets finished off. And the Romanians coming in with some high-level CQC units now here as well. The Pioneer Assault with the double flamethrower, really, really good. But the Aviator finds the Crusader. Aviator only having 35mm of penetration though. Not quite the same strength that we saw with the Horch further in the south. So this time the Crusader Mark II does survive, but in clutch kill onto the Stuk there with the Crusader. Really, really important. Keeping Inshaa on the 1311 for now, as another Aviator is moving around the side. 1311 keeps Gonzo being taken on, and his artillery still firing, still all around, but not super finding the damage that he would hope for so far for Gonzo out of these artillery guns. Sherman's lighting up enemy Pioneer Assault, moving on to the Power del Assalto in the center. No infantry support gun there to stop them, only normal anti-tank guns or CQC infantry. Or the Assault not on the edge of the forest, so they will lose out against the Pioneer Assault in the forest quite directly. But, ooh, M1 gun getting a shot onto the Stuk. Getting a bounce and a miss so far. And they will die to the next shot. At least one penetration in onto the Stuk though, before they go down fully. But obviously a kill would have been much nicer. 1311 here for Inshaa continues. As a Jeep release goes down in the north. Roggiori being pushed back. Crusader AA Mark II pushing forward. Roggiori being lit up. As AB Horch over here does retreat as well. Stuk 3G coming in. 1311 hanging by a thread for Inshaa, but he has Gonzo nearly down to half points. As Gonzo still has 20 minutes to revert that, but by now 20 minutes becomes a timer that has some meaning. With this difference in hit points, it really becomes somewhat meaningful here now. Gustatory Paras versus Pioneer Assault. The Gustatory Paras have more rifles, more hit points, but the Pioneer Assault have more stress damage and the better force Gustatory Powers in the end win out though. Gustatory Powers over here moving forward as well. Pioneer Kalari trying to get back in, but with the amount of Brands and Berettas in front of them, the Pioneer Kalari forced back immediately. And this is problematic for Gonzo, as the counter push here now falters. Fleck in the center, under pressure. Fleck in the north, under pressure. Oh! Ibi Horch together with a Stuk. Get rid of another Sherman though. The Crusader AA Mark II once more wants to find the Horch, but it seems like Gonzo might be able to win over here. 14-10 for Inshaa. Once more close to the 59. AB Horch opening up against the Crusader Mark II. Crusader Mark II gets a gun jammed. Sherman saves it last second though, so it doesn't quite go down, but it needs to get the hell out of here. As the AR is still around, can get endless recon here for Inshaa, but Inshaa now for Gonzo, but Inshaa now on the 59 with the flag in the center taken. Infantry fights here going into Inshaa's favor for a good while now, and this is really problematic now for Gonzo. He doesn't have the forces, he doesn't have the points to invest on all of these fronts at the same time. Obviously with Maverick, both of these guys only down to 80 points of income in C phase, as they both picked the heavy B phase income with Maverick. So as we are 10 minutes already into C phase, both decks might run a bit low, and also both incomes are really low now. They don't have many point reserves for sure, and all of the artillery guns of Gonzo at the moment are unsupplied. He invested into 6 artillery guns just to not supply a single one of the northern ones here. These in the south got supplied a bit, so at least they kept on firing, but I feel like investing into one more supply truck instead of an extra gun here, instead of maybe one of the F-22s, and investing into an extra supply truck would have been more worthwhile, as we have now 59 for Inshaa, and Gonzo's major advantage that he had throughout the mid-game, the artillery park, is completely silent at the moment. And at the same time, Brigida's getting picked off, Stuk's getting picked off, his infantry in the north gets completely annihilated by the better 60 infantry of Sil, and in the center, Gustatory Powers and Maros doing their job as well. We are close to a 16-8 here now, and Inshaa really putting up the pressure. 16-8 is up, 17-7 could come up any second, and then in 18-6, that would be absolutely breaking Gonzo. Gonzo here in game number 1 on the ropes, and Inshaa really close to getting the first map here now. Gonzo has to get some miracle work done here to get this reverted. 59 taking him down. He has only 17 minutes remaining. He has a major point difference to close, and all of the frontline units are in favor of Inshaa. Inshaa lately just pressuring Gonzo on all fronts, and this is an absolute disaster. The big artillery investment here of Gonzo really not paying off. His AA getting picked off as the tanks break through his lines, and yeah, the better infantry fights here in the CQC for Inshaa. Doing really good job in the center now as well. His artillery also still firing. He keeps his artillery supplied. They hit more of a frontline targets, and they hit them better. So I guess Gonzo invested more into artillery, but I think the artillery of Inshaa did more. It was not a small investment either here from Inshaa, with 2 obits 100mm and 3 obits 75mm plus supply trucks. But he did a good job there. Crusader in the north still alive. Sherman goes down. If all the Crusaders would die, Gonzo maybe could do stuff with air, but he just doesn't have the ground units anymore to really afford that right now. Like, he needs to keep on reinforcing the ground to just hold the line, so investing into big airplay and getting that worked out in time doesn't really work out here, as he's on a 6-minute timer, and it's a 17-7. Sherman's in the north going down, so not much to stop the Stuk and the AB Horch. But you just have to avoid them by now. Here, as Inshaa. Using the Alpini. It's not a great infantry unit, but it's a 20-point infantry unit. And that's why you take it. It comes with good veterancy since the latest patch, so a good bit better in that regard. But it's still not the most amazing of infantries in general. AB Horch hitting the Alpinis here nicely. 17-7 for Inshaa. Really close to the 18-6. There we go, and that's a 3-minute timer here on Gonzo. Game number 1 should go to our player on the right side, to the first-time finalist here. And Inshaa making it interesting already. I like that result, not gonna lie. I still think Gonzo absolutely has it in him to come back in here, but means that it won't be a Gonzo sweep this time around. Last season, Gonzo got a 3-0 victory over Onord after having a really clutch game in Season 7 in Onord in the finals, but this time around, it should be Inshaa with the first game here. Stook still trying to change that, but goes down to the Sherman 3. More Shermans rolling up here, and this game is really, really hot. 18-6 going on, 1 minute 57 seconds, artillery landing all around, OB under fire. Maro Bren goes down. Alpinis pushing against still Lieutenant Pioneer, getting them killed off. More AB Horse. So yeah, all of these units are nice, but there's just no meat left in Gonzo's frontline. Like he just doesn't have the frontline anymore. His Rogioris got collapsed on too many fronts for his AB Horse now to abuse the lack of AT on the other side effectively. Or the lack of AA. Like there are weaknesses now popping up in Inshaa's frontline, but Gonzo didn't hold the frontline on his own side for enough time to be able to now pounce on that. He lost too much cohesion in his forces, and now the 18-6 is just going to take him down here and going to get him out of here. Heavy Horse in the north moving around, Roggiori sitting around here. Spitfire keeping his eye on the sky. And really impressive game number 1 here from Inshaa. Like, coming in nice and hot, playing a slow game. Like in the past, in the late game against Gonzo, he never looked great, like in previous seasons. But in this season, Inshaa really has stepped it up over the last couple of months. He obviously was a decent late game player before, but not quite Division 1 level. Now he absolutely is. He showed here already he is way more deadly in all phases of the game than he had been before. And I'm really looking forward for the upcoming games in this series, as I think these two are really evenly matched. They absolutely deserve to be here, and I can't wait for game number 2, as Inshaa is starting to close that out further and further. 59 seconds, we are in the last minute of the game, maybe even less if Inshaa finds an 18-6 here. Sherman moving into onto the OB. Boy here, Sherman's really solid tank for this matchup. Well used by Inshaa. 40 seconds remaining. AB Horch still trying to find some damage, but Gonzo surrenders here. And Inshaa takes game number 1 here in a really nice fashion. Good artillery play. Airplay, somewhat reserveful. Gonzo with great airplay at the beginning, like really finding the weaknesses in the AA and getting some nice cluster bombers in. But Inshaa not plundering his Spitfires, not losing them to the 25mm AA. And just with the slightly better infantry traits, I feel like he also had the slightly better infantry for the map in general, but he also used them really, really nicely. And with that, poked holes into Gonzo's frontline, as Gonzo was relatively light on the frontline due to the heavy investment into air and into artillery. So he took some losses that he couldn't afford, and then Inshaa just kept on poking holes, and whenever Gonzo was filling one, he poked a hole into another part of the front line. And in the end, Gonzo couldn't stand up to that anymore and fully collapsed. And yeah, that's why in the end, the KD is also relatively heavily in favor of Inshaa. It wasn't that one-sided for most part of the game, but in the end, if you lose combined arms, the enemy will just crush every bit of your stuff. So GGVP here to Inshaa in game number 1. And I'm really looking forward now to the upcoming games. Gonzo, obviously not new to a position like this. I don't think he will have any panic or so. I'm pretty sure we will just see another calm and collected game out of both of these players in game number 2. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you do as well, guys.